Okay, hi everybody. Hi everybody. I think I'm live. Now I know I'm live. So welcome. Let me take a second and introduce myself. My name is Melanie Sibley. I have a small private practice in Champaign, Illinois, where I work as a licensed clinical social worker. I specialize in anxiety, addiction, trauma, and depression. I am EMDR trained and pursuing my certification, and that's actually what we're going to talk about today is an EMDR skill that I love teaching my clients. It's one of the very first things I do, and it's probably one of my favorite things to do. Before we do that, I always like to start out with some 478 breathing. If you are feeling stressed or anxious or overwhelmed, this should help just lower all those feelings a touch. Sorry, Siri went off. Let me turn her off. I need to disable her. Okay, so if you're feeling stressed, anxious, overwhelmed, the 478 breathing will lower you down just a touch so that you can hear and take in what I'm talking about better. And although I am definitely more comfortable doing Facebook Lives, there's still that little bit of, oh my God, who's going to see this? And so it helps bring me down a little bit and it helps me be more present and convey information a little bit better for you guys. So, 478 breathing is going to be from your belly, from down here, even though you can't see where that is on me. So, you're breathing deeply from your belly. You breathe in to the count of 4. You hold 4, 5, 6, 7, and then you're out on a really slow 8. As much as you can, you want to visualize the numbers because that also helps lower. So the belly breathing and then visualizing numbers helps ground you and slow you down and lower your anxiety. It won't make your anxiety go away, it'll just help lower it. So, what I like to do, what I have been doing, is I will talk us through doing it one time and then I will go ahead and do it myself. You are free to go ahead and do it on your own if you're at home. If you don't want to, that's fine. Whatevs. Nobody knows, and it's not going to hurt me or have any effects. Okay. So I tend to close my eyes when I do this stuff because it helps me be a little bit more grounded. You close your eyes or keep your eyes open, do whatever you feel most comfortable with. And you're going to breathe in, 2, 3, 4, hold, 6, 7, out on a really slow 8. Okay. So I'm going to do this. I'm still going to use the hand gestures because I feel like it helps me communicate when I'm not talking. You don't have to breathe in time with how I'm breathing. You do whatever works for you. You don't even have to use 4, 7, 8. You use whatever numbers works with you. My bestie, she's changed the numbers up for her and she was talking about it, I think yesterday, and she used whatever number. She's like, that 6, 12, 18. That's not what she did. Breathing was great. And it always makes me giggle because she never uses 4, 7, 8. She's tweaked it for herself. And for whatever reason, that cracks me up. So, okay, here we go. Okay, so welcome. Let us get started. So I'm going to explain. I did a quick note about it, but I'll go ahead and explain what Calm Place is, how, I don't want to say it how it works, how I conceptualize that it works, and then I will guide you through the exercise. So if we think about this, we all have these resources within us. Um, and I'm going to paraphrase, and I think I use this all the time, but it fits for me. There's a Zen saying, and I'm going to butcher it, but it goes something like, you're perfect exactly the way you are, and you can use some improvement. And I feel like things like creating this calm place speaks to that. So you have a memory network, a neural network, whatever word you want to call it, that says this is calm. So in some ways, you know what calm is. What we do when we create this calm place is that we kind of go looking for and we find that network, that neural network in your brain. And then through visualization and imagination and connecting with emotions in our body, we kind of light up that network. So it's already there. Everybody has a baseline of what calm is. So we go searching, we find this neural network, we use the script that I'm going to use to light it up so that your brain's like, oh, here's calm. This is what calm is. And then we strengthen it using bilateral stimulation, right? So tapping, and I'll do it like this when we do it. I'm going to lower this a little bit so you can see better. So tapping, for whatever reason, and we have evidence that this works, we don't know what it does in our brain, but the tapping will make that network stronger. So I visualize it as like a spider web or some kind of a network web, right? And so I think of us as like wandering around looking for it, finding it, turning it on, and it turns like white, like a bright white light. This is just how I picture it. But it quite often in a lot of us, it's really thin. So the bilateral stem, BLS, the tapping, will make those lines thicker and thicker and stronger and more resilient, right? So that's what we're gonna do. And then afterwards, I always suggest people practice this when they're not feeling disturbed, at least usually once a day for the next week or few weeks. And what that does is, like right now, we're probably going to have to go search, like, where is this network? And we have to go look around before we go, oh, here it is. But if you practice accessing this network, if you practice going to your calm place daily when you're already feeling pretty relaxed, then when you're in distress, you know how to, you don't have to like wander around. You're like, fuck, I know where it is there. And you can just go straight to it, and you can bring it up and bring it out, and it can be of use to help you when you're feeling upset. So that's kind of the general overall gist of it. And now we're going to start. If you want, feel free to close your eyes. Keep them open if you don't feel safe closing them. By all means, God knows if you're driving, don't do this when you're driving. Let's just do that. So if you're driving and you insist on doing this right now, pull over and do it that way. Otherwise, don't. Um, so if you're comfortable, please close your eyes and think about an experience you've had or a place you have been, or imagine being in a place that feels calm, peaceful, safe, something like that. And I'm going to give you a caveat. I really want to encourage you not to have other people in this place, because that can go sideways. Like that can tap into uncomfortable memory networks really fast. And it almost always does. I know you're going to think you're the exception to the rule. Just trust me, you're not. So create a calm place, create this place without anybody else in it. Also, be cautious of childhood memories or places that you're feeling homesick for. So if you grew up in a really alcoholic family, and when your parents were fighting and the drunk was getting violent, you ran to your room and you hid under your bed, and you think of hiding under your bed as your safe place, that's not what we want, because that is not going to be safe. That's going to tap into those really disturbing memory networks again. So we want somewhere that doesn't have a lot of ick associated with it. We want somewhere that is fairly pure. I had somebody who tried using like his family's cabin that they go to in the summer, but he was a student and he was at school. All that did was make him homesick. So he needed somewhere more neutral. I had somebody that tried somewhere, it was like at her grandmother's house, but her grandmother has since passed and her grandmother was there. All that did was make her sad for her grandma. So we want to be cautious about this, and we want to pick somewhere neutral. That's the best, or just happy without a lot of other weird stuff attached. Um, this could be maybe at the beach, in the mountains, an activity that you enjoy. It is quite often something in nature, so fishing or hiking. Mine is snorkeling in Kauai when I went on a boat cruise for a day. It was my once in a lifetime vacation. And that time that I was snorkeling was one of the most absolutely peaceful experiences in recent memory. So take a few minutes and go ahead and think of this place. And as you're thinking of that experience, of that memory, it could be made up. So it could be the island on Lost. I don't know that I would do Lost, but it was at least pretty. It could be something from a book or a place on a TV show. Maybe if you're into Downton Abbey and that, whatever, I've never watched it, but that mansion, something like that, whatever you want. So take some time and find this place, and then describe what you see. And if you're alone, I'm going to go ahead and encourage you to say this out loud because I think that will be helpful. If you're not alone, do it in your head, but I feel like there's more power when we can say it out loud and verbalize. So really take some time and notice what is around you. So, what do you see? What do you hear? What do you feel? If you're outside, is the sun out? Can you feel the sun or the breeze, the heat or the coolness? What is around you? What is off in the distance on the horizon? Can you hear birds or waves or the breeze? Or maybe there's people in the distance and you can hear them talking without really knowing what they're saying. You smell smoke from a campfire or the ocean or the green of a forest. Really sink into this memory or this imagination as thoroughly as possible. And as you sink deeper into this experience, what sensations can you feel in your body? And sometimes this can be difficult. So maybe you can feel a loosening in your gut, like a unclenching. Or I can usually notice that my shoulders are dropping and relaxing. Or maybe your eyelids are getting heavy because you're getting relaxed. Just really take some time and connect with your body. So continue focusing on your calm place and really notice its sights, its sounds, its smells, and its sensations. Just really be aware of what is there for you. So continue holding on to the image of this place. Concentrate on where you feel the pleasant sensations in your body. And then we're going to tap. And you can either do the butterfly hug. So interlace your thumbs, place your hands up high, close to your shoulders. Or if you'd like, you can tap on your legs. Doesn't matter. But we're going to go nice and slow. So bring up the image of your place. Concentrate on where you feel the pleasant sensations in your body and allow yourself to enjoy them. And when you're ready, start tapping nice and slow. Okay, go ahead and start tapping and take a nice deep breath. And go ahead and really notice what came up for you. If it's positive, if it's pleasant, go ahead and keep focusing on that. If it's negative, if you're feeling homesick or ick or any of those things, then rewind, go back to the start of this, and start with another place. But we're going to just say it's pleasant. So go ahead and focus on that. And go ahead and start tapping again. Stop tapping, please. Take a nice deep breath and really pay attention to what you're noticing now. If it continues to be positive, stay with me. If it's negative, go back and find a new new calm place. And that's fine. That happens quite often. But we're going to assume that it's positive. So really focus on everything you can see and experience in this calm place. Notice the pleasant sensations in your body, the relaxation and the calmness, the safety. And we're going to tap again. Stop tapping and take a nice deep breath and just see what you're noticing now. And I want you to think, and we're not done, but I want you to think there's a word or a phrase that represents your calm place. I decided to go to the Zen Center because I haven't been there in a while, and it's definitely a peaceful place for me. And so the word that I'm going to use is Zen. It can be any word. It can be calm, safe, lake, happy, Zen, free, any word whatsoever. So just take a second and find that word. Think of your word and notice the positive feelings and sensations you're having when you think of that word. Concentrate on those sensations and the word, and go ahead and start tapping again. Stop tapping, please, and take a nice deep breath. And what are you noticing now? As long as it remains positive, go on and continue focusing on your cue word and the pleasant sensations in your body. And we're going to tap again. Stop tapping, please. Take a nice deep breath and let me know or notice what you're noticing now. You can continue repeating the tapping for as long as necessary. We're going to stop now. I might do a few more sets on either before or after, before the cue word or with the cue word with the client, depending on what they want and need. Since I have no way of knowing for you if this is good, I'm going to err on the side of being done. Sorry, for some reason my voice assistant keeps activating. I'm not sure. I'm gonna have to turn her off after this. So always you get to continue these sets, and I don't know how to say it other than as long as it keeps feeling strong or it keeps shifting to stronger feelings. Maybe the image is moving or changing, or you feel yourself relaxing and settling. As long as it continues to be positive and it continues to strengthen, do this as much and for as long as you want. There is no right or wrong. It's not even the same for me every time I do this. Sometimes it takes very little, sometimes I do a lot of sets. I'm glad we're doing complex because otherwise I would be getting frustrated with my voice assistant. Okay. So now I want you to go ahead and out loud just pull up the image of that place and say your cue word out loud. So for me, I would pull up the image of the Zen Center and I would say, let me pull it up. I would say Zen. And I could feel it's always so interesting. And I've done this so much, and yet I'm still fascinated. The minute I said Zen, I felt my shoulders drop. If you don't feel anything, don't worry about it. That means either you need to strengthen it more, or maybe you can use some more connecting with your body a little more. A lot of people spend all their time in their head, and it's really hard for them to connect with their body. That can be worked with. That's not the end of the world. Now I want you to imagine a minor annoyance. So if we do 0 is no distress, 10 is the highest distress you can imagine. We want like a 1 or a 2, a really teeny tiny one. And the example I always give is at work, I park in a parking lot, then I have to walk to the stoplight. And if the stoplight goes from green to like yellow or red right as I walk up to it, I'm annoyed. It's not the end of the world. I forget about it before I even get to my office, but that's a little tiny annoyance. So go ahead and take a second and think of something. Notice how that feels in your body. Bring up and say your cue word aloud and let your calm place come to you. And notice any shifts in your experience. So, what do you notice? Most people can feel the calmness or the peacefulness, or they can feel their shoulders drop, whatever. If you can't, that's fine. That just means go back and do some more sets. Remember, I'm doing a really shortened version of this. It'll be enough for some people, it won't be enough for other people. It's not a big deal. Just work with it a little bit more and you'll be able to get it. I will tell you in training when I did this, I lied. So I used kawaii and the snorkeling, but like I was tired. I had a ton of information coming in. I wasn't 100% sure about the girl that was practicing on me. And so I could not really settle into my calm place. And yet I didn't want her to keep trying to make this happen. So I'm just like, nah, I can feel it. It's fine. And that's fine too, right? It was just their circumstances did not allow me to really activate that neural network. I could not find and go into calm when I was on high alert watching everything around me. And unfortunately, if I'm in a new place with a ton of people around, my hypervigilance kicks in and I am on alert. It's not good, it's not bad, it's just how I work. And I needed to be somewhere that felt safer for me to actually be able to do this work. If it's the same for you, that's fine. Now, I want you to think of another mildly annoying incident. So, level of distress of a 2 or a 3, so a little bit more, but still nothing extreme. And the example I use is it's always at work. I guess because I do this at work more than anywhere else. My old office was on the 5th floor. And at the end of the day, I'm tired. I want to go home. I want to see my dogs, the whole 9 yards. And I call for our elevator's so slow. I call for the elevator, and I would see it so many times. It would go up to 4, and then it would hang there for a long time, and it would go back to 1. And then I'd start hitting that out like, come on. And then eventually it would come back up to me. And see, just talking about that, you could see I started talking faster. I could feel my heart rate, and it's not a lot, but I could feel my heart rate kind of increase. So that was a nice little, that is an annoyance. So go on, think of another mildly annoying incident, a 2 or a 3. Notice how you feel that in your body. Now go ahead and bring up and say out loud your cue word. And notice any shifts that you feel. And I didn't want to say it out loud because I didn't want to step over you saying it out loud. But I mouthed it, right? So if you saw that, you could tell. And I could feel, it's so interesting because I could feel my shoulders drop. Like I got like this, and it's not a lot, but I got like this talking about it, and I was like, zen. And they dropped involuntarily. Okay, so that is Calm Place. I hope you find this useful. I'll be honest, I've been telling my clients that I would get this exercise up on my website, so that I would do this for them for a really long time now. So I hope you find this useful. If you are somebody that is already working with me, I'm sorry it took me so long to get this up, but I hope that you find it useful to be able to go and find this and do it with me, guiding you through it. I will be back next Tuesday at 12:15 on Facebook Live, and then from there, of course, I put it to YouTube and my website. I will say that I quite often struggle for topics. So please, 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 if you have something you want me to talk to, if you're struggling with an issue, if you're like, I can't fall asleep because I worry so much, or I whatever it is, I keep fighting with my significant other, or my mom just every time she says this she pisses me off, whatever it is, please drop me a line, email, text, phone. I have the form on my website that you can fill out. You can message me on Facebook. I will say, if you message me on Facebook, then probably you need to post on my page also saying, hey, I just messaged you. Their messenger for Facebook pages is funky, and I don't always see the messages, and I have a lot of trouble navigating. They made pages super complicated for some whatever reason. But if you want something spoken to, please drop me a line and let me know. I will be back next week and every week following. Um, I think all of you know at this point I am right here on this time. It's like May 19th or something, only doing telehealth. I expect that to change at some point, but for now it's just telehealth. I do have openings. I have maybe two. I have at this day and time, I have one sliding scale. And then other than that, Blue Cross Blue Shield, private pay. I have the one sliding scale, of course, student insurance, U of I student insurance, some health alliance plans. So if you want to work with me, please feel free to contact me and we can set up a free phone consultation. If you want a therapist and you don't want to work with me for whatever reason, please know that is okay. It will never hurt my feelings. So if you need a referral to a therapist in the Champaign-Urbana area, I got you back on that too. Just reach out and I can help you. Okay, you guys, have a good week. Stay healthy, stay happy. I'll see you next week.